So firstly, just wanted to welcome you to the session. So welcome everyone to our panel discussion, The Future of Finance, a conversation with leaders from across sectors. And as I said, we are recording our session. You will receive the recording in 24 hours, and you'll be able to watch our webinar later on. And before we start, I just wanted to do some housekeeping and give you some instructions. So we ask you for the best experience. We kindly ask you to disconnect from VPN and close any immediate applications that you have in your computer. We kindly ask you to ask questions as we go using the Q&A, and you'll see on the right corner of your screen. We also ask you to keep questions relevant to the topic at hand, and upvote any questions that you like. And you can ask questions to any of our panelists, and the event replay will be sent to you by email within 24 hours. So now I would like to pass it to my colleague Zita Maharaj from CATS. She's a career and transition advisor at CATS, and she would like to present you CATS. Thank you, Zita.
You're muted.
Well, you guys missed my amazing beginning, so let me do that again. Thank you. Thank you, Julia. Thank you for giving us your evening. And can you hear me now? We're all good? Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Julia, for setting me up. My name is Zita, and I am one of 6 CATs at McGill SES, and a CAT is a career and transition advisor. It is my pleasure and my role, along with my colleagues, to best help orient anybody who needs help during a transition of career and or figuring out what to best help navigate their career pathway, and or to then discuss what options or opportunities are available for you via either SES, the world at large, anything we can do to help support you. I have just 2 quick moments to share with you some of the things that we offer. We do stuff called individual advising and coaching sessions, and that's an opportunity for you to chat with us one-on-one, myself or any of my colleagues, to go over your resume review, to question and navigate any pathways you might want to discuss in terms of career, and also to help you practice for job interviews, which at times can be nerve-wracking. And also we really help to connect you to some possible gaps in your resume or possible gaps in your career story that we can help pivot to really help you navigate the best story possible for your own careers. We are always available to students through our website, which I'll leave you with at the very end. We do a number of really interesting workshops we have that are open to the public and to all SES students. We have training opportunities for soft skills. We do a lot of networking opportunities, which even during the pandemic, we have not skipped a beat. We do a number of networking opportunities virtually to try to connect you to different pathways, different people of influence, different opportunities career-wise. So we definitely try to connect you as much as we can. And you know, some of you in the audience may know exactly which pathway you want to take, which is fantastic. Others are questioning, which is also great. There's no one solution for everybody. So when you come over to CATS, we have this really wonderful embedded number of programs that can help you as you need it. So even if, by the way, you may already have a job, and you're just coming to this information session to gain more information about a specific skill that you choose to go into, we still have possibilities for you to either become a mentor, to be mentored. You can also come on in and talk to us about opportunities at your own organization. There's always ways for you to get involved with CATS. And this workshop, this seminar is really for you. And I'm going to stop now, but I want you to know you can always reach us via CATS McGill. That's on all of our socials. I would appreciate if you guys felt the need to join us on LinkedIn. We have a very active group on LinkedIn. Same thing with our Facebook as well as our Instagram. We're everywhere. And we can also share in the chat. If it's okay, I'll type in how you can find us on our landing page through SCS. If you had any further questions, you would be able to check us out and maybe get some more answers there, and or drop us an email. We are more than welcome and happy to help navigate any of your questions, whether you are a current student or you're thinking of being a student and or just have a random question. We got your back. And it's my pleasure now to pass over the mic to this faculty lecturer and program coordinator, Dr. Eduardo Lima. Now, he's a PhD, an MBA, and a CFA. He's got a lot of amazing things to offer. He's going to let you know more about him. But I also want to thank you, Dr. Lima, for all that you do and for helping to navigate this pathway for us. So thank you, and you guys enjoy your session.
Thank you very much, Zita, and welcome everybody. Welcome to this unfortunately short evening with marvelous invitees that we have today, and I will introduce each one of them as well. Thank you, Julia, for introducing the event. Thank you for the amazing introduction to what CATS is, especially from a very practical point of view, Zita. Most people who are in this event here in the audience are, they're thinking about their career. We are all thinking about our careers all the time. It's part of who we are. And so I will talk a little bit more about CATS as we approach the end of this event as well. So let me start by just kind of going back to what we had proposed to do here. COVID-19 has rocked nearly every industry, accelerating changes that were already underway due to the rise and expansion of digital technology. But as vaccines roll out and whole industries prepare for a new normal, what does the future hold for finance? So you are joining us here for this panel discussion to explore this vast and active field and hear from our esteemed panelists, all leaders in finance from across the sector, as they share their perspectives and insights on what we can expect to change, the obstacles we need to prepare for, and the exciting opportunities to come. So we're going to explore questions such as how might COVID-19 have changed the path that the finance field was already headed down? What will the finance jobs of the future look like? How will technology impact the jobs available and the skills needed to thrive? And finally, what do today's students and professionals need to know to be ready for the challenges and opportunities to come? So I'd like to start by talking a little bit about myself before I introduce our panelists. I have obtained, as Zita mentioned, I obtained my PhD degree in physics, actually, at UPenn in 2001, and my MBA in finance at McGill in 2015. I have also completed the actuarial exams to become a fellow of the Society of Actuaries in 2008. I'm now an inactive. I'm no longer an active actuary. But I also have completed the CFA exams and became a CFA charter holder in 2015. Capping a 17-year industry career as a consultant, mainly for institutional investors, such as pension plans. I have worked for Willis Towers Watson, Mercer, Eckler, and Murnau Chappell. And since 2018, I'm back at McGill University. Now I work as a faculty lecturer in the School of Continuing Studies, where I am responsible for the finance programs as the academic area coordinator for finance. People who know me usually recognize me for being a natural motivator for high performance in students and analysts. I have focused much of my energy to developing the diploma in professional practice in finance, as well as other McGill programs related to finance. So having said this, what is my mission? My mission is to assist you, prospective students or a current student, in the multitude of possible quests related to your participation in our programs. From the goal of learning more about investments and finance to advance your career, to the goal of becoming a CFA charter holder, through a variety of other objectives, including being able to make educated decisions about your own personal investments, and simply being very fluent in the language of business for general knowledge. At the same time, I also have the mission to serve our society in facilitating an extensive process that includes preparing human capital for the financial services sector. Imagine a lean machine where, say, we at McGill are inside an extensive network with employers, professionals, the Professional Institute, the CFA Institute, and a pool of job market candidates. And we process the education of these professionals and job market candidates to feed employers with more of the intellectual power that they need. So that's kind of how I view our mission and my mission in the position that I occupy right now. Guiding me in this mission and providing me with confidence are my ethical principles, which include my commitment to the CFA Institute's Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct, being a CFA charter holder. So I think I spoke already too much about myself, so I will go ahead and introduce our panelists. I have people who are alumni of McGill School of Continuing Studies, people who have been working in the finance field, and many of us are CFA charter holders. But irrespective of that, we've been working with investment decision making, and this is essentially a huge portion of the world of finance. It's not everything. It's very difficult to cover all of the world of finance because it's a huge universe, as you may already know. So Patricia Saputo, she graduated in 91 and then in 95 with a couple of degrees from McGill. She's an FCPA, an FCA, an ICD.D, a TEP, and a DTEC certified with wealth transition coach and financial coach. Her position is a chief financial officer at Placements Italcan Incorporated. Patricia is the next generation member of one of Canada's most well-known families, and you can tell that by her last name, who has pioneered the family office space when she created her own family's single-family office in 1998, when the family's operating business went public. Her current role as the chief financial officer of Placements Italcan, a diversified investment holding company, brings her the responsibility of managing her immediate family's wealth, transitioning of wealth to the next generation, and educating family members on the responsibility of inheriting wealth and being a good steward of wealth. She's very generous with her time, and she serves in key leadership roles on a variety of boards and advisory committees. She's also a regular speaker at a number of national and international forums. Patricia has been invited to speak on numerous occasions in the areas of family wealth, women and wealth, governance, education, philanthropy, and financial literacy. I think even last week or the week before, she was in a CFA Institute event such as this one, when they were discussing, what is going on in the wealth management business. She's also called upon for her advice and reference on investments, philanthropy, and strategic planning. She believes that education is an incomplete process, which is why she considers herself a life learner. So I will in time introduce you as well to our other two panelists, but I will start asking, just to break the ice a little bit, I'll start asking Patricia a quick question in terms of having those questions in the back of our minds in terms of what is the future of finance. For you, when I think of you, I think about learning. You were teaching, you were learning. It's in a different type of role than maybe most people, but as we will see, every single person traces their own trajectory, and we can't really compare trajectories. We can only compare the regions that we cover as we trace our trajectory. So my question to you, Patricia, is how do you view the importance of continuing to learn, and how this is taking shape as we move across time? Things are developing and we don't have a crystal ball, but if we try to see a little bit ahead, what are your thoughts on finance education?
Well, I'll start by saying that most people might have heard one say that our lives are not a destination, our lives are a journey. And life is about finding your path and dealing with the crossroads every time you reach them and making the right decisions and being able to find your purpose and your passion in life that will help make an impact to the world around you. And I truly believe that happiness is nothing without meaning. So if you can't find your true passion and your purpose in life, then you ask, can you really be happy? So that comes with meaning. So whether it's in the CFA field or any other field that you choose, it's really finding what you're truly passionate about, because they truly say that if you do and you enjoy what you do, you won't work a day in your life.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much. I really love these. I call them words of wisdom.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me introduce you now. Thank you, Patricia, and we'll come back with more questions. And folks in the audience, please feel free to type in your questions in the Q&A box. Brian Kwok, he's a BCom from 1998 and a DPA in the diploma program in 1999. He's also a CA and a CFA charter holder. He's playing the role of Chief Operating Officer and Chief Compliance Officer at Claret Asset Management. So he's working currently in the asset management industry. So if you think about Patricia's role is from the point of view of an investor, it can have some parallels between institutional or individual investor. It's a family business, but it has a lot of things that are shared with institutional investors because of the size of portfolios and so on. And so she's let's say in the buy side of the finance world. If you think about Brian's role in the Claret Asset Management, so he's working in let's say in a senior role in an asset management company where they are looking at investments also to be offered now to the buy side. So they are closer to the sell side, but not really there, because the sell side would be the companies that are raising funds by issuing stocks and bonds. So just looking at where everybody is in the world of finance can also help the audience here. Brian began his professional career as an auditor in 2000 at Baker Tilly in Montreal. Between 2003 and 2011, he worked at Ernst & Young in Bermuda and at PricewaterhouseCoopers as a senior management manager in New York, specializing in the alternative investment industry. So since those beginning years, Brian was having a focus more as an auditor, but and therefore working in these audit companies, but he was specializing in investment, alternative investments. So what are alternative investments? If you are already in the path somewhere in a finance education, you will realize that alternative investments are alternative to the traditional investments, which are stocks and bonds, pretty much. So you have these two big traditional types of assets, and then you have the alternative investments that can be thought of as having just maybe a catch-all term, because it includes hedge funds, private equity, it includes real estate, commodities, so it includes all other types of investments that are not the traditional investments. So he has specialized back then in early experience in alternative investment industry. Between 2011 and 2017, Brian worked in a private real estate asset management company in Canada. So again, another alternative investment type. He holds a Bachelor of Commerce and a graduate diploma in public accountancy from McGill University, obtained his Chartered Professional Accountant and Chartered Financial Analyst, the CFA designation in 2002 and 2019, respectively. He joined Claret as an interim controller in 2017. He became the Chief Financial Officer and Chief Risk Officer in 2019, and now in 2021, the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Compliance Officer. A lot of senior position in the company, and so that is this sounds so exciting and very interesting. And for Brian, I'd like to introduce your voice to the public by perhaps asking you a little bit of again, thinking about the questions that we are looking at and try to answer in terms of what is the future of a career in finance and the skills and so on. What is the advice that you would give to people based on both your experience, which is quite unique, but also based on your own observations? advice for people when they're either getting their first job or maybe they're already in their first or second job, but they're looking to advance their career in those early stages?
I would say that don't start off like me from all the side. It will be much quicker to get there. But I think for now, a lot of technologies will help replacing a lot of entry level. So if you want to advance in the career in finance, you need to sharpen your skill, be computer technology savvy, and knowing what changes in the finance industry and be prepared for to position for it. Yeah.
Well, that sounds great. Lots of wisdom in there too. I make sure that you guys take notes, or if you come back and revisit the recording. Thank you, Brian. Um, and then finally, I'd like to introduce you to Danielle Phillips. Danielle, she's the representative of the CFA Institute here in Montreal, especially with relations with universities. Danielle, she's a CFA charter holder and also a PRM, professional risk manager. She's the chair of the University Relations Committee with the CFA Montreal Society. This is not her main job. She's working as a senior investment advisor for Desjardins Capital. Danielle is playing this role as the chair of the University Relations Committee with the CFA Montreal Society, and besides that, she's not only working for Desjardins Capital, as which is a private equity manager that offers tailored financing solutions, specializing in asset allocation and risk and treasury management. But also she's doing some short-term mandates in her field of expertise for the Développement International Desjardins, which is a division that has been offering technical support and investment services in the microfinance sector for developing and emerging countries. So this is quite fascinating. It's kind of a third arm, if you will, in Danielle's career, which is, it sounds so exciting as well. Prior to joining Desjardins Capital, she's worked for the National Bank of Canada and also for RBC. So she's been, with the banks for sure. A chartered financial analyst and a professional risk manager, Danielle holds a bachelor degree in finance from HEC Montréal. So Danielle, thank you for joining us, and I'd like to introduce the public to your voice by asking you, how do you make the connection between your education, your finance education, or your upbringing in general, with your career and these different aspects of your career? How do you manage everything? How do you juggle all of this?
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Eduardo, for this nice introduction. The education that we get basically gives us a foundation and gives us technical skills that we are able to use when we actually get to the workplace. But once we're in the workplace, that's where we get to discover different people, different background, different types of positions, and this is where we start building an identity. And when we start building an identity, we start figuring out our passion and what really drives us. And sometimes it might be different from what we've learned in university. But when we do discover this passion that Patricia was talking about earlier, we basically want to spread the joy. And when we want to spread the joy, that's when we want to do more and more for our community and for the people that are around us. And so the journey that I took from basically university into where I am now is really a journey of passion and spreading the joy and being able to give back, because this is where I found my particular passion, is when I do give back to the community.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing these thoughts. I feel very lucky to have you guys here with me today and tackling possible questions that are coming our way. And I see there is already one question. I don't know, Julia, maybe you want to introduce this question. Can you see it?
Yes, I can. Hello, everyone. So we have a question here from Anna Costa. She's asking, is the future going to include Bitcoin investments? This is a very confusing investment at this time for me. So she's asking about the future of if it will include Bitcoin. Thank you.
I will let the panelists take turns on this, but you know, it's actually the present already includes Bitcoin, right? It's already in there. But
right.
I will let you know, any of the panelists jump in to say how they feel about Bitcoin in the future and also in the present.
Well, if I can address first the question. Of course, Bitcoin is it's like it's a new type of asset that came along with this new environment that we have in technology. So technology is going to take a lot more place in the finance industry. So yes, Bitcoin is it's a cryptocurrency that is backed by an infrastructure which is called blockchain. Now a lot more people are interested in, right now, institutionals are interested in investing in companies that deal with blockchain. The cryptocurrency universe is still a very volatile universe, and it's an area that is still needs to be understood, still need to be a lot of research still needs to be done on that end. But the infrastructure behind Bitcoin, which is blockchain, is what we're looking as institutional in investing in.
If I can add, so I see every profession like the medical profession, where you have doctors who specialize in different areas, but yet you have to be a generalist in all areas. Same thing with CFAs. You have to know what's out there, what products are out there, but it doesn't mean you have to be a specialist in every one of these areas. So if it's something that scares you because you don't understand it and you don't know where it's coming from or where it's going, it doesn't mean that that's the area you should specialize in. And to really feel comfortable with the area of expertise, once you become a CFA, that you're most comfortable with, and to get jobs in those areas. The Bitcoin world and the cryptocurrency world is complex. There's a lot of people don't understand it, but there's even this fight between how much will it spear ahead when we're talking about these social impact and environmental issues, when it takes so much energy to mine a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And there's a whole other side to cryptocurrency and that comes to play here, and we can kind of do like a spider web and go in different directions, but it seems like it's here to stay. It's not one of those fads that comes and goes, and understanding it, at least at its base level, will be important, but yet there's no need to understand it in the depths of it until it starts becoming more mainstream in our day-to-day lives.
And I agree with Patricia. We currently don't have offering on Bitcoin or invest in Bitcoin, but we know that there's a trend out there. We do try to understand as well. In case in future it become a mainstream, we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, nice. Thank you very much, everybody. And it's funny because I think it was today. Probably you might have seen some headline news somewhere. I saw it on my phone saying that they're expecting maybe a correction on the Bitcoin. Where people might even lose 50%, like as much as 50% of the value of the Bitcoin. And this is just a reflection of one thing, how volatile this asset still is, and also and related to that, the fact that we don't understand it well. so well yet, and so it can be very risky as an investment if people just go in the hype because it's going up and it's going up. You are feeding a bubble, just like a real estate bubble that sometimes exists there as well. Well, thank you for the question, Anna. I don't see any other questions in so far from our participants. So feel free to ask. This is for you guys, so feel free to ask your questions.
There
So
is a
yes.
question. There is a question in the Q&A.
Oh,
Yes.
It says, how important will the alternative investments be in investment portfolio for future generations compared to traditional markets? And do you see them being more open to public access? So definitely, alternative investments are actually very important as we speak. We are in, as we all know, interest rates have gone down quite tremendously, and everybody we are looking for returns and different ways to see how we can obtain returns on our investments. And so alternative investments are very attractive because they do provide a certain they provide stable income with minimum volatility. Now, the important thing to know about alternative investments is that some of them are very complex. If we look at infrastructure, for instance, it is very complex to understand, and also they are not very liquid investments. And so when you're looking at your portfolio, it's important to understand the different attributes of alternative investments in order to be able to see how it applies to a diversified portfolio. Now, the traditional markets now are still going to be around, but the diversification of the portfolio now is we're looking at a different type of portfolio. As before, we were looking at, let's say, a 60-40 stocks versus bond portfolio. Now we're going to look at a more diversified portfolio to balance the risk and go and get a higher return. So right now, is there going to be public access on that end? There already is. You have a lot of asset managers that are coming out with infrastructure or even real estate. The real estate's funds have been available for quite some years now, but we're looking at infrastructure and other types of alternative assets that are available to the public. So that's my take on that.
If I can add to that and say that in the past, alternatives were more for the larger portfolios. So I like to look at portfolios into small, medium, large. It's not a one size fits all. And in the past, it was really for the larger portfolios, the pension plans, and where there was, 100 million of assets under management plus, where they can go directly, to the private sector, the private equity, make investments in, toll roads and bridges, whatever infrastructure is, buying land, farmland, which is another type of infrastructure. But now it's coming down the line and it's becoming more readily available to the mid and small portfolios because they're being packaged up by the financial institutions to be made available to smaller portfolios where you don't need to have a minimum investment of 5 million or 10 million plus. So now you can go in with smaller amounts. So that's usually what happens, is that it's things are seen at the larger scale, and then everybody tries to bring it down to the retail level, because you have different levels from retail to institutions and anything in between, of where people want to access different types of products. And now we're seeing it in the alternative space.
very
Sorry.
nice.
The only thing that I would add is that the regulators in Canada actually has taken a baby step to bringing the alternative investment to general public. They publish something called liquid alternative, which allows some of the alternative strategy to be offered to the public through either a mutual fund type or exchange traded fund, but there are like significant constraint in liquidity as well as in leverage. So it has not been able to achieve the same type of investment strategy or leverage or private investment that we will see in typical alternative investment, but it's there, is the first baby step. If you look hard enough, you will find some convertible strategy that are already um, arbitrage strategy that is already on the market.
Yeah, like in the hedge funds, and with the concept of which is quite old already, which is the securitization of any type of investment. You can break down into small units that can then be made available to smaller investors as well, to the public.
Oh, the liquid alternative is actually for general public. Like you can
Yeah.
only have to invest $100, $200 is fine.
Thank you
But
very much. Very nice. Yes.
no,
Danielle.
just in the case, like let's say, for instance, in the case of private equity, like we have a fund that's available to the general public in private equity, and it's a partnership that we have with the government, so that the general public here in Quebec can invest in different businesses in Quebec, and that's of course an alternative investment, but it is available to the public, and we've had this fund for almost 20 years now.
Yeah, yeah. I see there's lots of questions, lots of new questions. That's great. That's exactly what we wanted. And some of the questions are more or less related to the let's say the future of the investment profession or the finance profession. So we'll try to keep closer to that to that topic. Although every question is really welcome. So I really enjoy reading all of the things that you guys are writing from the audience. But I see questions here that are related to, for example, the post-pandemic reality will be, in my opinion, quite different from what was before. In your opinion, what will be the major change in the financial sector to look for? That question, together with the question that goes along the lines of there's a few of them. How do you see middle positions in finance? Will it survive, or will it be replaced by technology or outsourcing? So the role of technology in there, right? And we already even talked about Bitcoin. That's one of the directions of the fintech, financial tech and technology kind of merging together. The pandemic, it seems like it's accelerating the whatever process that was going on in this technology kind of being advanced and maybe taking jobs. So I think this is a question that is in everybody's mind: is will we have less jobs in finance because of the advancement of technology? And is the pandemic having any effect on this dynamic? So would you guys like to take turns on this one?
Eduardo, I'll start, but that was a loaded question. So let me break it down to the first part of what you're alluding to. So the change in the financial sector. Because of COVID and because of sustainability and ESG, environmental, social, and governance issues, people are now talking about the triple P bottom line, and the triple P being people, profit, planet. And which one should take priority? Should the planet and the people take priority over profits? Because right now people invest to make profits. People are always looking to, I mean, that's what the finance world is all about. How do you invest and create a return on your investment? We are now realizing that impact investment does not mean being philanthropic and expecting to give money and not getting any return. We're starting to see a huge change where even in the family office sector, in families, single family offices, that it's not in their philanthropic endeavors that they're giving money to make a difference, but we're seeing it in the portfolios of the single family offices where they want to make an impact, a social impact, but they're expecting returns because they're saying if we can make an impact, get a return, and we keep on making an impact, well, it gets the wheel going. So it's an area that we are seeing a lot more change and a lot more talk. And even at the governance level of boards, I'm also on a pension plan, and we're looking at, ESG, what does the environmental issues look like, the social issues look like, as well as the environment. And how does that play into the portfolio, the asset allocation? So there's a lot of changes, and I think COVID has accelerated these changes because it's making these be top of mind. So I'll answer that part. I'll let somebody else answer the other parts to your question.
Thank you, Patricia.
Well, if I can add on the pandemic aspect, we've seen obviously that a lot of people are working from home now. So we're using different platforms to communicate. So we, of course, we will have a new normal, and it has to do with how we communicate and how we interact with each other with the technology. Now, if we're looking at if we're going to lose jobs, I don't think we're going to lose job. What I think is that the jobs are going to be transformed. And how are they going to be transformed? Well, we were using technology as a tool. And right now, what's going to happen is that we will be using technology as a partner with artificial intelligence, and everything that we have to look at, and the amount of information that we have with technology right now is that we need to create this partnership with technology to be able to interpret the data and to be able to collect it. So I think in the finance industry, the most of the workers will have will have to adapt and get new skill set to do a lot more analysis, a lot more looking at the big picture in order to optimize your daily tasks.
Nice, very nice. Thank you for these contributions.
I will add that I don't think technology will completely replace human. I think professional judgment and skill are still essential, at least at the investment management area. However, I think like more and more entry level work can be done by new technologies. So the bar for the future entry level will be raised. So I think to really advance in the field, people need to sharpen the skills. Like now we see robo advisor providing like asset allocation recommendation. So for future human financial advisor, you would need to do more than just simple plain vanilla recommendation on asset allocation. And I've seen some of the best performing hedge funds are based on algorithm. Our firm actually also offer like quantitative models, and those funds have performed really well. So if you are just an average stock picker, you may find it more difficult to compete in future. So people will either rely more on technology to develop products or offer something machine cannot effectively use now, like for example, private debt or some alternative strategy.
And if I can just add, if AI is going to do a lot of the repetitive tasks rather than it being mundane for humans, let us humans be what AI is not. Let's be humans, and let's be empathetic, and let's help one another. In the single family office space, we are dealing with family members. We're dealing with individuals. We're dealing with humans. So if you want to have that human aspect in the CFA field, there's many areas you can go where you're not going to be replaced by a robot or, whatever AI is going to be doing, because it's going to be able to do data analytics faster than us humans. But there are certain things that you cannot get from the robotics and from AI, and that's that human touch. And I think the pandemic has made us all realize that the human touch is important, that hug, that face-to-face with another person, that touch on the hand that, a lot of people that are living alone are not getting. So I think that's the part that we all have to be cognizant of. We're still humans, and we still need to interact with other humans. So I don't think it'll be replacing us completely, at least not yet.
No.
These are great observations, and I can't help but think that the the technology is taking some space, right? But then there is a lot more space that's being created, also because of technology, also because of everything else that's going on. This is a big adventure, right? Life is this big adventure, and we can't really figure it out from each one of our own perspective. And we can talk about this over a beer and discuss this all night long, because this is really a fascinating subject. But how does this will affect careers, and how will this show to people who are currently looking at possibly starting a career or in the middle of their career already? What are these skills? How do these things develop that they need to make sure that they understand? Certainly, technology is a great answer. But what I think Patricia said very with a lot of appropriation was that you don't have to there's still a lot of choices to devote a career, whether it's in stock picking, looking at companies, and then you choose an industry. So there's there's already a universe of things that you can do. So there's so much that can looked at. Let's look at the clock here. We are around 15 minutes from the end of this event. I see lots of very good questions that we have been tackling. There's more questions coming on. Let me maybe look at a couple more questions. Have you spotted a question, Julia? We see a lot of about technology and things.
Yes, we have a lot about technology, and I believe that maybe just as a suggestion, as a last question to the panelists, I believe it's important. I've seen some finance job offers which ask for IT background education. Is that a new trend? Could this blockchain technology, for instance, change the finance job market? So how is having an IT background, how that connects to finance?
I think it's going to change the CPA before it'll change the CFA, because blockchain does exactly that. It's a ledger. Yes. So I think the CPAs will be in jeopardy, I think, beforehand. But let me explain something that we tackle in the single family office world, and that is the technology that we need to use for our day-to-day business. So on one end, you need to have a proper accounting system to enter your bank statements, your investments, know what your revenues are and your expenses are. And then you also want another software that gives you your reports. You want to know, okay, what are your reports? What's the list of your assets? And you want it be able to break it down in categories and in revenue generating, non-public, private, and then break it down even further in sectors and industries, et cetera, et cetera. And then you need it all to, help you with the tax implication, what's taxable, what's not, at what rate, et cetera, et cetera. Technology in each of these areas is very different. Because accounting is a dual ledger system, investment and the investment world is a one, there's no ledger, it's just one transaction. It's a revenue or it's an expense. And then the accounting, and you need an interface that combines the two entry system to your investment side. And you need people to understand the accounting, that interface, the IT, to get to the investment. You have to understand the investments, and you have to understand that then to get to the tax. So you have to deal with multidisciplinary teams. It's going to become a team approach. A person cannot do it alone. So if you have more than one background, all the better for you. Or you get together with a team of people that can provide all these different backgrounds to be able to bring something to market, whether it's a program or whether it's a solution. I mean, they do say that necessity has become the mother of all inventions. So there's a necessity, there's something there that we need. And because of that, people come together and develop that product to bring to market. So if you have a background of IT, yes, it will help. But is it the end all? No. Get together with teams that have that Combine yourself with others that have the expertise, and you can still go forward. Having a basic background will help, but not that you need to have it as, part of.
Patricia, you touched on so many points with what you've just said. It really sums it up, and it has to do with the new skill set needed for everybody, and it has to do with, yes, we're coming into this world of technology, but we are going to, as people, have to understand how to communicate and how to understand each other. So have this clear this clear communication and how to articulate what we do across disciplines, because that's what's going to happen. Because the 3P that you were talking about, the people, the planet, and the profit is slowly getting worked on. So the people have to understand how to better the organization.
True, very true. Yes, some remarks, Brian?
I'll just say that technology can help us a lot, maybe make life easier for a lot of people,
Yeah.
especially at the entry level. Rather than doing data entry, they can actually do some more meaningful work. Um, I work a lot on the compliance side. Like, even those there are new technology or tools that help us in the compliance process, we still need human judgment or professional judgment to interpret the data, make the right call. Machine is not there yet, at least probably not in my lifetime.
That's right.
Yeah. Wow, this is amazing. We are approaching the hour. I'd like to thank the panelists again, and but before we wrap it up, I just wanted to just spend a few minutes. I'm actually going to share my screen. Let's see if I can make this work. I'd like to spend a few minutes and talk to you guys about an education in finance and what Gil is offering um, to the public in general, to everyone. I see if I can share this. Can you see my screen with able with um, some letters on the top saying DPPF is a Diploma in Professional Practice in Finance.
Yes, we
So
see
here
that.
I'm showing you guys the list of courses in the diploma program here, but it's not for you to read all of the words here necessarily. You can take a quick look while I tell you a little bit about this program. The Diploma in Professional Practice in Finance is a 30-credit graduate program designed to provide state-of-the-art education in investments in finance, so that students may apply their learnings directly in the workplace. It's also designed to position our students well for the job market in all industries of the financial services sector. Through its affiliation with the CFA Institute under the University Affiliation Program, the diploma program also provides our students with a variety of benefits, including eligibility to receive CFA student scholarships, as well as participation in events promoted by the CFA Institute. All instructors of finance courses in the diploma program are CFA charter holders and holders of a master's degree or higher in a finance-related field. They're recruited based on their teaching ability as well as their passion for teaching. Because of their extensive industry experience, our instructors can bring aspects of real-life situations they have encountered at their own work environment into the classroom. The required and complementary courses in the diploma program span, as you can see, a vast coverage of theoretical and practical material, including the full CFA program curriculum. While our students are not required to write the CFA program examinations, the material they learn in the program places them in a great position to follow this path. McGill University is in a unique position in Montreal to nurture a solid network that includes firms in the relevant financial services industries who will provide high quality instructors and guest speakers, as well as potential employment for our students. The growth of the diploma in professional practice in finance since its inception provides additional testament to the fact that it has a robust philosophy and that our vision of being a key player in feeding the Montreal job market in investments and finance is a solid one. So I welcome you to come and learn more about the program and other programs that we have at McGill. We have also exam preparation workshops specifically to the CFA examinations as well. That's something that McGill also offers. But the diploma program is something that you can call your, a degree, and it also serves to, essentially teach everything that you need to know to prepare you for your career in finance in the future that, no one really knows. We don't have crystal balls, but I think we had a great exercise here today of, trying to predict a little bit of what is going to happen in the future. So once again, I'd like to thank our panelists for their participation. If they want to add any final comments to our audience. For the audience, I saw that there were some questions that came unanswered. We're going to look at questions and reply. I welcome you to get in touch with me. I'm not sure if we are leaving my email address here,
Yes.
Julia. Perhaps some information on the chat box, some links, maybe my email address. Please feel free to get in touch with me directly if your question wasn't answered. It'll be a pleasure to chat and look at your situation as well. That's my mission, as you already saw, and I'm happy to be involved here. So I'll let the panelists say a few last words. And once again, thank you everybody for being there and for your participation in your organization.
I just want to say thank you for having me on the panel. It was a pleasure to give my time to help the CFA students. And I truly hope that you find your passions in life and that you find where your journey will take you. Good luck.
Thank you very much for having me tonight, and all the panelists. I want to thank everybody from McGill that organized this event. And what I can tell you is, don't be afraid to try things. Don't be afraid to ask people and in the industry what their job is about and how the industry works, because we're here and we are here to answer. So don't be afraid.
And thank you for having me today, and thanks everyone for participating. And maybe I do have a little bit advertising for CFA. If you want to be in investment management in Canada, CFA is one of the destinations that require for registration. With the registration, you are not going to go very far. So CFA, get one. And at the end, thank you very much. If you want to wish out have any questions, just feel free.
Thank you very much, everybody, once again. I'm trying to send here. I think I just sent a little chat with my email address. So please feel free to send me questions directly, and have a great evening, everybody, and a great rest of your week.
Just a friendly reminder to everyone, we're sharing the recording. See it soon. It will also be available on our website. And once again, we would like to thank you all for joining us tonight. And I personally would like to thank our panelists as well, Patricia, Danielle, and Brian. For sharing your knowledge and your extensive experience with us. And I wish everyone a good evening. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.